Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, hi, my name is Natasha and it's fantastic to have you here. For today's video, it's a little bit different. It is a comparison video, but it's a little bit of a serious video. So I do want to preface this by saying these are all of my opinions. If you have different opinions than mine, that is completely fine and valid. I just want you to keep an open mind. So with that, we are comparing the original decks to decks that I shopped off of Temu for. I didn't want to have to do it, but I did it for you guys. So we are going to be comparing the Moonology Manifestation Oracle by Yasmin Boland with artwork by Lori Mena and the Light Seers Tarot by Chris Ann to the ones that I got off of Temu. And I will say I do have a complete video on how to spot counterfeit decks, and I will link it up in the eye. If you have not seen it yet, I highly suggest you see it so that this whole video will make sense. And one last caveat, I have tried to film this video multiple times now, and each time it turns into a rant video, so I'm going to really try to rein it in. So, these are not the Temu decks. These are the original decks. I wanted you to get a comparison of the two here. They're both from Hay House, and the ones I ordered, I've already looked through, and they are so disappointing. And I knew that they were going to be. I have checked out the Temu app prior to ordering this when it first started to come out, and all the decks look suspicious. So here we are. All right. These are the decks that I ordered off of Temu. I don't really recall how much each was. I think this one was like $3 something and this one was $8.99 because that whole site is chaotic. If you have checked it out, there's pop-ups everywhere about win this, or you got 90% off of this, or spin this, feed these fish, and I was just overwhelmed. Chaotic. So that was interesting. But as you can see, they do not look like the original. Let's start with this one. So this one is a box, and this one is a tuck box. The verbiage on the back is pretty consistent, but as you can see, there is a QR code here, not a barcode. There's no retail price and there's no publisher anywhere listed on this packaging. I will not be testing out the QR code because I don't know where it's going to take me. I don't want to get fished. And the people that have ordered counterfeit decks before have said that their QR code doesn't work, so I'm not even about to touch that. So let's go to this one here. If I sound snarky, if I sound upset, it's because I am. Okay? And listen, I don't have any stake in this. Like, they aren't paying me to do this. I'm just frustrated for us as a community. Because this, at the end of the day, is not a good look. Because if you don't know any better, if you're starting out in this community, say that this was your first deck you purchased and this is what you were left with, I would be frustrated. So, editing me here to mention, if this was your first deck ever and you got this disappointing one, you probably wouldn't want to purchase any other from this creator as well. So it works in a lot of different levels. It's like a 3/4 of the size. The quality of this is so flimsy. It's less than a flashcard quality. And it's not advertised as a pocket deck, but it literally feels like a pocket-sized deck. And the quality of the print, they did a pretty decent job. Not gonna lie. It still feels very faded, looks very faded compared to the original here. The colors are more rich. But it's literally, they photocopied it, put it in the printer, and said, all right, we're gonna make money. So let me show you how this shuffles. Doesn't shuffle terribly. All right, let me show you the Light Seers, and then I will have my opinions. So again, verbiage is pretty similar. No barcode, no publisher, no retail price on the packaging. And it's completely different packaging. All right, so with this one, it is again a box. There's the cards and a guidebook. And then this one's just a tuck box. There's a side comparison. Again, was not advertised as a pocket-sized deck. Was advertised as the real thing. This is even worse quality. This is like so close to paper. Does not snap back. But again, they did a pretty decent job to try to fool you. The colors at least aren't faded. Same shape as the original one here. So again, pretty decent dupe when it comes to the artwork. And it shuffles okay. It's not terrible. But I happen to like a thinner cardstock, but I don't like this type of cardstock. This is too thin. If I shuffle it just wrong enough, it's going to bend, fold, tear, whatever. So yes, they are counterfeit. Yes, they are dupes. So I'm going to give you my opinions here as to why I'm so frustrated without hopefully making a rant. If you were a beginner, this is not a good way for you to learn because there's no guidebook, okay? It's not particularly awful if you get a tarot deck to not have a guidebook, because if it's based on like a Rider-Waite-Smith system or a Thoth system, you can find like reference books for that. However, it is going to be hard for you if you are trying to find an oracle deck, because if this was one that was like your first purchase for an oracle, you wouldn't understand it. There's a lot of information that comes in the guidebook that this just doesn't give you, especially if you don't know anything about moon phases or zodiacs. It's going to be a little bit harder for you to utilize, right? So when you think you're going to get a guidebook off of it and you don't, you just wasted your money. So then I want you guys to think about, if this was your creation, would you be okay with somebody else profiting off of your creation that maybe you've spent years making, that you know the quality that you put into it, you knew every aspect that you wanted to get across in your creation, and somebody just ripped it off and created a subpar version of it? I'm not saying that we should not have decks that don't cost, you know, hundreds of dollars, right? Like, this is a time where everything is expensive, so I get it. So I understand the appeal of wanting to spend $4, $6 on a deck when you can. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's hurting us as a community. I went into it in the counterfeit video, but I'm just going to reiterate it here. I know there's a lot of options here for decks now, as far as compared to back in the day. But these wonderful artists and authors, spiritual leaders in the community that create these decks, they do it for us to use that as a tool, right? At the end of the day, these decks are tools. When you can consistently see your works be counterfeited, it would be a disappointment to you, and that would make you want to not create them anymore, right? If the community that you are making these tools for doesn't want to support you, you're going to stop making them. There's a lot of wonderful indie decks that are out there that mass publishers have picked up because they have a following, because people have supported them. And then in turn, that creates a way to make those decks cheaper for us in the community. Because again, when you're an independent creator, when you put something else, when you put your deck on Etsy, for instance, You are in charge of everything that goes behind that. The quality of the art, the quality of the cardstock, the quality of the ink and how it's printed, the packaging. You have to source all of these materials. You have to find a way to source a printer company, all of these things. So that gets put into the price of the deck. So there are some decks that probably cost the creator, $50 just to produce like 12 or, I don't know, fill in the blank, right? And that's why they put that $50 into the price tag, but they still need to make a profit so they can, live, right? So you have to think about all of these things that go into creating a deck that isn't even mass produced. So one way that we can get the decks cheaper is when they go to a mass production like Hay House, when Hay House picks a deck up. So then it's easier for more people to utilize the deck and it's more accessible because they make it in bigger batches and they can lower the price. We are inadvertently making it harder for these creators. I want to create my own deck someday. Like, I have been wanting to do this for years now. So when I see stuff like this, I'm thinking to myself, is it worth it? Because I'm going to have to fight off, all of this because I would be an independent creator. So my deck might be $50 as a price tag, but if you can purchase it for $5, are you going to support the counterfeit or are you going to support me, right? So not to make it about me at all, because this is not the point of the video, but I'm just wanting to put it into a more personalized terminology so that you guys kind of understand that these aren't just faceless people that are getting their stuff ripped off. Think about the artist community as a whole. These websites pirate other people's art and sell them as their own, whether it's stickers, prints. There's a huge discussion about AI right now because they use AI to learn off of these artists' work. So at the end of the day, your money is a vote toward what is being produced. So if you choose to spend your dollar on counterfeit decks, you create a market for it. So therefore, more people are going to start counterfeiting these decks and selling them at a lower price because you are then creating a market for it. Capitalism. So at the end of the day, this is insidious. And again, I'm not going to tell you what's right and what's wrong, but my opinion is I don't want to support this. I felt so guilty. Oh my God. It was so upsetting to place this order because I knew that it's contributing to the problem. But this is just to show you in physical form how bad it is, right? How they dupe you. And I did, along with this, purchase other items just to see if they were all kind of suspicious or if it was just, a counterfeit situation when it came to the deck. Not everything was good, you guys. I bought a dress because I was like, okay, let's just see. And it was like $8 and it was terrible quality, right? I bought a ring for my husband because I was like, okay, let's see if this is really quality work. It was not. So if you know what you're buying, if you know that you're buying subpar quality, go for it. But I do want you to consider everything that goes behind the scenes in companies like this, like Shein, for instance. That's a huge topic right now. And there's been a few controversies that come into that. I have not purchased off of Shein. I don't support that. And so it just makes you wonder about the working conditions. It makes you wonder about how they can provide you all of these products for pennies and dollars. It makes you wonder about the pay that their employees take home. So I'm trying not to be upset as much as I was earlier, but as a community, we really need to uplift the right things, right? It's hard to do under capitalism. There's no ethical consumption under capitalism, but we can at least try our best to support what we think is the most correct way, right? I don't know what the solution is other than to purchase legitimately. That is one of the reasons why every video I do, every review video, I will link the legitimate, and I say legitimate sources down in the description box, because there are so many shady companies, there are so many shady people that will make a buck. And I do want to comment real fast that I have seen counterfeit decks in metaphysical shops. It's not my place to tell people what they can and can't sell, but it's very frustrating to see that, as well as I've seen them being sold at festivals, at booths. So that's why I'm making this video. We should not be supporting anything counterfeit, regardless of how much it costs. There are other ways to save money. I know Hay House especially does a bunch of sales, but I mean, I don't have the solution. I don't have the right or wrong ways to do it. I'm frustrated. So, conclusion, it's about being an educated shopper, I guess, an educated consumer. It's, again, thinking about where your money is going. And I will repeat it, there's really no ethical consumption under capitalism, but we can choose to vote with our dollar. And I, for one, am not going to be voting on Temu. I would love to know if you yourself have unknowingly purchased a counterfeit deck, if you are of the same opinion as me, if you have any ideas on how to go about this as a community. But I do want to reiterate, this is not me trying to shame anybody. This is not me telling you what to do. This is my own personal opinion. I just want us to all kind of think a little bit more about what we're supporting. Not such a fun video, but with that, if this helped you in any way, if this was educational in any way, let me know. And if you have not done so already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell on your way out of this video. That way you will never miss an upload from me. If you want any of my social media, I do have it all linked in the link tree in the description down below. And that's where you will find all of the relevant videos as well. So have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.